Hi everyone, our second session today is all about rounding decimals to a whole number or rounding decimals to one decimal place. They might also refer to this as rounding to the nearest tenth. And on top of that sheet in task 2, I've also put some additional reminders of the rule that we would apply and some images to support that. So do make sure you're using those to support you. But I'm also wanting to go through this today because I have noticed that a few Mathletic scores is quite low for this topic, all right? So let's first of all think about what does it mean by one decimal place? So here we've got a number of 5.6. One decimal place means that there is one digit after the decimal point. And then if we looked at the second number, 2 decimal places has got 2 digits after the decimal point. Okay, so that's just something to think about. So first of all, we know that when we're rounding to any number that there is a focus. So they'll ask us to round to the nearest whole number, or they'll ask us to round to the nearest tenth, or what we've previously done in school, rounding to the nearest 10, rounding to the nearest 100, etc. Okay, so when we did that, we always circled the focus number. Okay, so let's focus on rounding a number to the nearest whole. Okay, so let me just get some questions here. So we've got 4.7. Okay, now we're going to focus on circling our whole number. So our whole number in each of our 4 examples, I have circled my nearest whole number. Okay, and then as you can see, I've underlined the number next to it because then we need to look at this number and apply the rule that's here on my sheet and the rule that is there on your computer screen, applying this rule. So if the underlined number is a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3 or 4, the circled number will stay the same. However, if the underlined number is a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8 or a 9, then that circled number will need to be rounded up to the next digit. Okay, so when we look at that first number there of 4.7, we need to focus on that tenth of 0.7. We need to apply the rule. So which side is it on? It's on this side. So we need to add 1 more to our circled number. So adding 1 more to 4 will give us 5. Okay, if you looked at it in a number line, which is another way I said you can do it, if you plotted it at 4.7 like that, you're thinking about which whole number, is it the 4 or is it the 5 that 4.7 is closest to? Well, it's closest to the 5, isn't it? It's only 0.3, 1, 2, 3 jumps away from that 5. It'd actually be 7 jumps away from the 4. Okay, so that's why we're rounding up. Okay, and rounding that number to the nearest whole number would be 5. Okay, let's look at our next one of 7.3. So when we apply the rule, when we think about the rule, the 0.3 is on this side. Okay, the side that we have to keep the same. So that whole number would stay the same at 7. If we looked at it on a number line, and we think about plotting 7.3, which one is it closest to? 7 holes or 8 holes? What's going to be closer to 7 holes? Only 0.3 away. Okay. Next one here, we've got 7.19. So the underlying number is a 1. We look at the rule and we're going to keep that circled number, our whole number, the same. So the answer is 7. Okay, and the last one on this one is 24.77. So 0.7 is going to be on the side that we're adding 1 to. So we need to add 1 to our 4, but we're adding 1 to 24, not adding 1 just to 4. So our answer is going to be 25. Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to have a little look at these additional questions, and I want you to pause your screen, okay, and I want you to round these lengths to the nearest metre, okay, or the nearest whole number. It means the same. Okay, so pause your screen right now and have a go at these 4 questions, and then you can press play again and I can show you the answers, okay? All right, so I'll show you the answers now. Okay, so nearest whole number will be 9 metres for both of those, 26 metres for those, and rounding that up to 15 metres. Okay, right, the next thing that we're going to look at is rounding to the nearest tenth. Okay, so this time we're not thinking about rounding to the nearest whole number, we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So if we look at that first number there of 1.85, our nearest tenth, the number that we need to focus on and circle, is 8 tenths. Okay, our next number, it is 6 tenths. The next number, it is 3 tenths. Okay, so we're going to underline the digit next to it. Okay, and then we're going to look at this underlined number and we're going to apply our rule. So the underlined number is a 5, which is on this side, so we're going to add 1 more to the 8. So our answer would be 1.9. Okay, let's look at the next one, 15.63. So we're only focusing on these 2 digits right now. So this is a 3, we need to look to the rule. It's on this side, so we're going to keep our tenth the same. We're going to keep it as a 6. And then we need to make sure we put 15.6 in there because we're not focusing, it's anything after the circle number that we need to round off. Okay, and then the next one, that's a 0. And 0 is on this side, so we're going to keep that one, that tenth the same. So we're going to keep it at 2.3. Okay, and again, you've got lots of questions like that in your home learning pack. So if you go back, if I go back to your home learning pack, you've got a number of questions on there, all referring to asking you to round to the nearest whole number on this side, and you're rounding to the nearest tenth on this side. But I do very much advise that you circle the number that you're rounding to, so the nearest tenth or the nearest whole number. Okay, and then you're applying this rule, it's really important. Or if you're not confident about that, then draw your number line and try and plot them for yourself and then see which side it is closest to. All right, good luck. Bye for now.